you were to start a business, knowing of a possible decline in the economy, it would be an online business. That's a no-brainer. I just start creating content because your out-of-pocket cost is so low. Got a lot of time invested in it, but your out-of-pocket cost is just absolutely nothing. And you can take that online business and you can parlay it into something offline when the economy becomes a lot better. You know, what's interesting is I was watching a behind the scenes video of Mr. Beast opening up his first hamburger store. Now I know he's done like trademark deals or branding deals, something like that, where stores like TGI Fridays or something have sold his hamburger on their menu. Like it'll be a Mr. Beast burger on the I can't remember the store. Was it TGI Fridays? It was a few restaurants like that. But now I guess he's opened up his actual in this huge mall. I don't know where it was specifically, obviously in the United States, but he opened up a Mr. Beast burger restaurant. And it was behind the scenes of the first day when he literally had 10,000 people in line that started to like camp out 2 days earlier just to be one of the first individuals who got to eat at the Mr. Beast hamburger restaurant. I mean, just completely blew my mind. And I would highly suggest watching that video if you're an entrepreneur. You'll really get a kick out of it, I think. And but it just goes to show you how many opportunities there are in the online space. Now, going back prior to when this opportunity existed, you'd have to take a significant amount of capital and put it out there to make sure you had enough runway to set up a lease. You have a brick and mortar store. You've got massive amounts of payroll, all to grow the business. That's why they always say that most businesses lose money for the first 2 or 3 years before you even break even. And that's the way it normally works. I can attest to that because I started several businesses that were the exact same. But now, I think that's the opportunity. So even if I wanted to start an offline business, I'd probably start creating content for it online first, just as a trial balloon to see what people really enjoyed, what they engaged with the most. And then I'd transition it once the economy was a little bit better. Now, let's just say for a moment, you're like, oh, George, I can't do the content creation. It's not me. Then I would suggest, I had an idea the other day. I thought, this would be good in a recession. I would just look at things that do well, such as, beer and tobacco always do well. I'm sure in the next recession, marijuana is just going to be, unfortunately, it's going to be huge. This may be a little early, but crypto, not now, but crypto over the next 5 years might be interesting. So why do I say that? If you go back in time, you can see all these boom bust cycles where this brand new technology that's going to change the world, revolutionize everything. First, there's like a timeline that repeats over and over and over again. When the technology is brand new, everyone just kind of, oh yeah, whatever, that's never going to happen. And then gradually more and more people start realizing that, hey, this is a game changer. And then the media catches on. And then once the media catches on, then everyone starts to know about it and everyone starts piling money into all of these new companies. Let's go back to the 1800s. What was it back then? You guys know. I'm sure most of you on this live stream. It was the railroads. The railroads were that was the crypto of its day. That was the 1990s .com internet. Same thing. Exact same thing. Because we as human beings create different technologies, but our mental hardwiring is the exact same today as it was during the tulip mania. Maybe that's not a good example because that wasn't a new technology, but it's the exact same today as it was during the railroad bubble. Exact same today as it was during the .com bubble. And I'm sure within 10, 15 years, we're going to get another thing, another technology that's going to spring up and quote unquote change the world. And everybody's going to pile into it. and all these companies are going to spring up that don't make any money, and no one cares, and everyone's then they're all going to crash, and everyone's going to get burned, and there's going to be some frauds, and it just happens this way over and over and over again. But we still have trains, right? And we still have websites. It's just not the same ones. So usually the whole thing crashes down, and then up from the ashes kind of rise, the phoenix rises. And that's where you see some good opportunities. And if you go back and look at when the best time to start, we'll just call it a website, an online business, would have been not right after the bust, but a couple years after. So let's go back to the .com bust, 2000, 2001. But then I would argue that the best time to start an online business would have been 2003, 2004, something like that. Just think, I mean, I know YouTube wasn't around back then, but just think if I would have started, like, just go, when did it start? Like 2000, when did YouTube start? Maybe 2006? That sound right? Let's just say that it was 2006. So let's assume for a moment that I just started my YouTube channel, the one that I started in 2019, the one you're watching right now. Just think if I would have started that in 2006. Think about that for a moment. I mean, that it would be, I mean, whatever success I've had, you can just times that by 100. When was Facebook set up? Facebook started in 2005? Something like that. Amazon made it through the whole collapse, and they came out the other side even stronger, obviously. So my point here is, for those of you who are technologically savvy, you might want to pay attention to that, because in the past, when everything like Bitcoin was at 65,000, we'll use that as a proxy. That was pretty much the peak of the mania within the whole crypto space. And I know the Bitcoiners get all pissed off that you lump Bitcoin in. I'm not lumping Bitcoin in with the other crap coins, we'll call them. But it was the same mania. It was all the same hysteria, if you want to call it that. And as Jim Rogers teaches us, we always want to buy panic and sell hysteria. Now, I don't think there's been enough panic yet in the crypto space or even in the Bitcoin space. I've always said that I've got Bitcoin on the watch list, but I'm going to wait till I see capitulation. When I see the number of attendees at the Bitcoin conference go below like 1,000, that's when I get interested. When I see Saylor have to fire sell, that's when I get interested. When I see, all the Bitcoin podcasts and whatnot, let's say there's 100 of them right now. When I see that go down to 5, that's when I get interested. But on the way up, I really, although I saw the value in Bitcoin as far as having some sort of purchasing power outside of the banking system, that's where I always saw the value. I was very hesitant to say, well, the probability is high that it takes over the dollar as the global currency. And I would still be in that camp. But I still see value there. It's just at the time there was just so much froth and just the mania. Every time you turn on CNBC, and when people are getting involved like this Kevin O'Leary and all these Saylor and all, I'm like, whoa, that is not one I want to buy, because and what I would always say on Twitter, and I got crucified for this, is how often is a retail mania correct? Just go back throughout financial history. Show me the retail mania where all the retail ended up on the right side of the trade. It just doesn't happen. Unfortunately, this is not the way we're hardwired. But you guys get it. So I would look at something like that. Whenever you just see the whole house of cards implode, like we're seeing right now in crypto, a lot of times that's the opportunity. And I'm not saying go in and buy right now or anything like that. I'm just saying that, if you start getting interested in it now, in 2 or 3 years, after the whole thing collapses, no one's going to want anything to do with crypto. And that's the time to maybe start a business there, right? Other than that, I would just go back and look at other things that do well in a recession. I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to give you something unique that might be special to this next recession we have. I mean, one thing my mom did really well, she was a real estate agent, and during the GFC, she studied up and specialized in short sales. So she had a ton of business from short sales. So that was good. I would just think along those lines.